a proud father, and I dare to say, the greatest Toastmaster at this conference. In his speech, Investing in Conflicts and Disagreements, Khaled Matlagaitu, Investing in Conflicts and Disagreements, Khaled Matlagaitu.
Thank you, Alex, for this introduction. But just a minor notice. If you think I can teach you how to avoid conflicts, or I can give you a solution so that you don't have conflicts, then I'm sorry. Maybe you can find another more valuable session for you. Yes, I have 12 kids, and guess what? 8 of them are girls. So I need to consult with the girls to see how I can solve these sisters relation problems. Especially here I see a lot of ladies. As Alex said, I'm sure all of you have been in situations where you really felt like a thermometer. I mean, you'll be in discussion and you said this. No, I didn't say it. No, actually you said it that day. No, I did not. Actually, I said this and that. And the other person, no, you said that. I saw it. Actually, you even wrote it to me an email. And what's happened at that time? You feel the blood is going up. For me, it's not easy to see, but for you, it's easier to see all the way. But luckily, I have a face which immediately changed. So even I don't have the color change, but my face, people, they will see it when getting that thermometer effect. But why is this happening? Why we argue that this happened, this did not happen? You said it, you did not say it. I mean, are we deaf? We don't listen? Are we so forgetting that we forgot what we really say? Anybody of you trust that or think he's deaf or he cannot remember what happened or some of the important discussions? Anybody there? Raise your hand because... So you doubt your memories a lot? If somebody like this, maybe we need to send him to a doctor or a psychiatrist. No, actually, the problem is that we don't doubt ourselves. Today, I will not talk about all the communication. I will not talk about the visual. I will talk about just one form of communication. And hopefully that will give you an idea about also what's happening. Because our brain is a very complex machine, extremely complex, something beyond, even with all the research and all the efforts people they are doing, with all the sophistication in the world, people they think that we still know less than 1% of what's really happening in our brain. But we will not go into the research. I'm not specialized in that part. I'm more to talk about what's really common for us. Have you been in a situation where you talk and then somebody tells you, oh, you meant to say this. You actually wanted to say this, and then I say, oh yes, yeah, actually I said that. No, you said something different. Have you been into this situation?
Yeah.
Anybody who never got this situation? Nobody ever told you that you meant to say this?
I heard you say something different.
How is your memory?
I don't know about this, but I think it happens to everybody. But have you ever guessed how many times actually this is happening? Where actually you said something different from what intentionally you wanted to say? Because like I say, we'll talk about Bosnia. And then somebody say, okay, and then we go to Gdansk. And then say, oh, you meant to say Bosnia. And say, oh, I said Bosnia. And people will tell you, oh, no, actually you said Gdansk. Did it happen with you? How many times?
A day.
Once a day.
Maybe. But be prepared for the surprise. Actually, it is happening with you all the time. But you know what's the difference? In some situations, it is very clear for the people on the other side that you wanted to say something different. And they noticed and they told you, no, you didn't want to say this, you wanted to say the other word. But most of the time what's really happening, people, they will record what you said, and they will have it in their memory. So 1 month later, you will get into this thermometer situation, where you will swear that you said Bosnia, and the other people, they will swear that actually you said Gdansk. It's happening all the time. Not every word we say, but it's happening almost daily basis. But what happens, people, they don't notice actually what we wanted to say. I started with this because this is the most obvious, let's say, phenomena or something happened as we have just understood with everybody here, except Mihal. Maybe he's talking so complicated, people, they are not really to say. But this is only one step in the communication, which is what you said by your mouth, which is different from what actually you wanted to say in your brain. But the actual communication, it goes through 6 steps. And I will try to cover these 6 steps. If I have a pen here. Okay. So let's say that the intention start from the heart. Because actually, anything, before we take any action, we get a feeling, and then we will do it. We feel pain, then we do something to prevent it. We feel in love, then we try to express our love. Just for simplicity, we say the heart where you get the feeling. And then it goes to the brain. That's why I didn't go to biology. Much easy. Engineers don't understand. Actually, in this step, which is step number 1, you want to send a message, or you have an intention and you want to send it out. So you start selecting the words, what actually I should say, what I should not say. Are we always successful in this? In saying what actually?
Never.
Sometimes. Anyway, Alex will help you in her session how you can improve in the state. I cannot tell. But actually, sometimes our intention is something, but when we select the words, we go totally off. We like something from a person, But so we want him to feel happy, or we want him to know that we appreciate what he or she did, and instead of making her happy, she becomes very angry. I have, as I told you, 8 girls and up to 3 wives, and I know how that feels. Oh, actually, I wanted to tell you I love you. Why you did this? Actually, I did it to make you happy. So that's the first step. But if there was no fight, I mean, somebody had a feeling, he said something, then automatically we assume our intention is received by the other person. Like what I said between the couples. I did something to make my partner happy, but then she comes screaming. Why? And then we get into the thermometer situation. Because we think we told what she already had the message, we love her. The reality, she didn't get that. So this is one step where you can have a prayer. Second step, you already put the words in your brain. What the message will go. But it will come to your mouth. This one I think I can do. Especially here inspired by the beauty, Polish beauty. And the good lips.
Awesome.
I wish I can have those. And that is the one which we talked about. You want to say certain words, you already have a sentence in your brain, but what happens in your mouth? Because maybe if we take again the example of Gdansk and Poznan, yes, we are talking about going to Poznan and this, but actually my brain is worried about something going in Gdansk. So when I speak, Gdansk comes in the middle and instead of Poznan. But do we know about this? No, because what's goes into the memory is this one. This goes to our memory. And maybe, and also this part. So, A and B. We know what was our intention. We had, first intention is the part we know, that's for sure. But we know, we think what we have said, because that's what goes into our memory. But then actually what comes out of our mouth, as we have just said before, or you have said before, it happens sometimes we say something different from what actually we wanted to say. I want to say yes, but actually what comes from my mouth is no. Or the other way around. With my kids, they say, oh, you said you agreed. I say, really? But actually it happens. Sometimes you want to say I agree, but what comes from your mouth, I don't agree. Or the other way around. But what's in our memory is what we had in our brains. No, I said this. So this is the second step. Third step, reach the ear of the receiver. But before it reaches the ear, but in this step from the mouth to the ear, guess what happens? And that's very funny part. There is some bit of physics or technical part. In sounds, Actually, you cannot have two sounds together. Physically, does not happen. Because when you have two sounds, there will be two waves. So like in the sea, when you have two waves, what will happen? Either they will break each other or they will grow. But what will come is totally different wave. But still we talk, even in parties or like in the club yesterday, there was music was there, other people are there, ladies are excellent in this, there will be 10 in one place and they're all talking and still they understand. But actually, physically that's impossible. So how we are doing this? I'm sure, of course, all of you here speak English, or at least understand English. And when you talk with your Polish fellows, you find that they understand your English very well. And you understand them the same way. But have you tried to speak to an American or a British, or even an Indian? Anybody can volunteer what was the reaction when you started?
The first time I was listening to a British man speaking English, I couldn't understand him at all. So I asked him, do you speak international English too, or just British English?
I think it's an insult to say international English, a British one.
No, but anybody from the Polish people can share what was the reaction when you reached to an Englishman or American to speak in English? Yes.
Well, many years ago when I went for the first time to the UK, and I was sitting in a room in a hotel and the cleaning lady came in, and she asked me if she can clean up the room, and she said something like, and I thought I had the advanced English certificate, certificate of advanced English, and she asked me, I said, sorry? That's how the communication is with the British people in the beginning. After a few days I got used to that, but in the beginning it's impossible.
What was her reaction when you spoke to her? Did she
repeated, she was very kind, she repeated her question. I mean, she was obviously asking me if she doesn't interrupt me with anything and she can really clean the room. I understood by her body language and tone of her voice, but no single word I could distinguish. I could tell anything.
Yeah.
Maybe she was Polish.
She was. Okay. So actually that's a part where they call it, the linguistic people, they call it the accent. When you are in Poland, because you already have the Polish accent, and when you learn English, you have English with the Polish accent. So when you talk to your fellow Polish people in English, you can get advanced English certificate like you. Why? Because actually when we listen to somebody, and then another person will come, and then so the results will be something not like this one, not like this one. It will be actually in every language, even in the Polish language. Even if I learned Polish, I was trying to practice dziękuję, but most of the time people they will not understand it the first time. And I know why, because I must be pressing the wrong syllable. Actually, when we talk, we think we listen to the whole world. Actually, what we get is normally he speaks, From a very long sentence, maybe we got, and when we get to speak, we think we already know the word. But guess what? Sometimes so many words, they have the same peak. So how we know if it is word A or B? Physically, and this is science, nothing about brain, this is just physics, about the sound physics. There is nothing can say for sure. So how we still understand? Because there is a lot of assumption. Actually, during this process from the mouth to the ear, a lot of distortion happens. Even the AC, as I'm talking to you now, the AC actually is distorting my voice to you. But somehow, because it's so quiet, so you can eliminate that noise and you get still the peaks from my words. And you get the words, and then there is actually like a puzzle, a game in your brain. I think he said that, of course you don't do it consciously. Actually, all this happening in your brain, the super computer. It takes all these peaks, oh actually he made me think it's this, and then the word in the middle, and it must be this. And that's why even when I started working with my coach to improve my English accent, actually he said, you must tone down some of the words. Because if you try to put them in high, people they will be confused. Because if you go to the Americans, normally they will push down certain words or the accent, and for them they will easily make up the rest. So they will take, if we say this is a word, they will take the peak. Sometimes if it is a long word, there will be another minor peak. You'll find this in Webster, by the way. If you want to improve your accent, if you go to Webster, you'll find there is what they call the stress syllable. Alaska, Alaska. They almost sound the same. But if the stress Alaska, that means I. Alaska. They're almost the same. Actually, they are. Here I put the stress in the first one on the I, the other one is here. So when somebody go and speak, want to say Alaska, but then he puts the press here, because it sounds actually Alaska. Then the total meaning change. And if you add the noise from the other people talking around you, so how confident you are about this, about what's really getting to your ears. So there is one part which is the physics. This is pure physical sound physics. Then it comes, so this will come as a signal, a wave, and then it will come again the dangerous brain. Because it will get all these peaks, and then the brain tries to analyze. Okay, it comes like a cipher. What actually he meant? If he's a partner, oh, actually he's talking about the kitchen. But if he is the boss, he's actually talking about the report. The signal, maybe what gets to the brain is exactly the same. But because I know with my partner I will not talk about the report, assuming that you are not. And when you are with the boss, he or she will not talk about the kitchen. The word may be exactly the same, or the signal which comes to your ears. So what makes this interpretation? What is your perception? If I know, for example, I have a problem with Eva, and she says something, and then I will assume that she is really saying something not nice to me. No, I'm really having some good time. Then, and she's smiling, I assume that she's saying something good. Especially if we don't see the face. Or maybe somebody is saying bad thing but smiling, you know. And that will even make this process totally go wrong. Like especially in the work. I mean, the boss, he would say, oh, you are fired, sorry, but we are going to fire you. Because, and then you think that he's giving you a promotion. Because people sometimes, they try to hide their feeling. But actually we take all this, and at the end what we think this is what we hear. Or what this person actually said. Actually, you don't think we hear. You say, oh no, you said that. You told me this. You promised me a promotion. So what is our perception? Is this really guy good, bad, he hates us, he likes us, he loves us? And all this goes into the communication. Then from the brain, it will come, okay, we assume that he said this. So then, would that makes us feel happy or feel sad? Somebody say, I don't hate you. Would that, what is our values, what is our culture? I mean, for some people, if you don't make handshake, it will be insulting. For some people, you make handshake, you know, you make them feel very uncomfortable. If you go back to UK, I mean, or certain cultures, I mean, people, they don't like somebody to touch them. While you go to Italy and Spain, and if you don't go for hugs and handshakes, I mean, why are you angry? So this is another first step. And last, it will go to the memory. Sometimes we forget, but let's not talk much about the forgetting part. Here, somebody wanted to say, I will fire you. Here it reached, I will give you a promotion. Somebody say, go to the shop. This guy, here, or what goes into memory, no, he said, go to hell. Okay. But then when, especially even the second day, or even sometimes 1 hour later, if these two people have a discussion about what happened earlier, what will happen? This person will go to the memory and talk about, because that's what, no, actually, this was my intention and this is what I said. But what this person will say, be totally different story. But because we are we from day one, we always think that what we said actually what came from our mouth. What we put here, that's exactly what reached here. And that's the situation where the thermometer happened. Actually, both, they will swear. They'll say, I swear, this is what I said. And the other person, they will say, I swear, this is what you said. And they are both right, by the way. And that's the point you need to consider. When you have a fight, just stop for a second and remember that maybe what the other person said was true. Yes, you are sure about what was your intention. That's the only part actually you can be sure about. Hope we have different color. You can be sure about this. You can argue only about this part. Everything else can go totally different from what actually you wanted to say. These are 6 steps, and as we said, in every step there can be a big explosion, totally distort the message. But do you think this is only to the audio? Do you trust more your eyes? Have you got those tricks or messages in email? Messages like this one. Anybody can read it? Now actually, because I told you, most likely you would pay more attention about it. But if you get this in an email, you will be able to read it perfectly, even though almost all the words are misspelled. Or there was another trick where people, they will write something, and then they will put the word like to, and then they will start here with to, and you will read it perfect. Haven't you got any of those emails? Or I can tell you, if I send you an email with something like this, you will recite to, and then you will continue. And what will happen, what your eyes will do, or actually not your eyes, actually what your brain will do, will just cross this one. And you will not know it. For the spelling, actually what's more important is the first letter and the second letter. And then you will fill the gap from your memory, from your background. And that's again, you will not necessarily, actually sometimes the word may be perfectly written, but what will happen to your brain? Let's say you have some conflict with some person, and then she sends you a message. How likely you will read that message as a friendly message? Or would you consider that as a friendly message, or will consider that most of the time related to your conflict. According to a lot of research, and people, you can find a lot of this in in Google, you can Google these kind of things. I'm sure you got a lot of pictures where you see them like lines, you think that they are actually tilted, where actually they are perfectly parallel. But again, what will come to your memory? Oh no, those lines were not parallel. Oh, actually you wrote me this. I saw that you wrote for me this message. Especially if you are tired. I remember one time I read an email, and because I had some issue with somebody, I got an email, and immediately I assumed that I read that email with that perception in my mind. So then I was talking to somebody, and he wrote this and that. I said, I did not see that in the email. I went to the email and I found actually it was totally different from the one I read first. And actually I'm not sure, maybe even the second time, still not reaching the correct one. So my message is, I cannot help you with all this. I still have some conflict with my partner. But what I learned, honey, let's not talk about this. I'm not sure if I said that or you just heard it. I know this was my intention. Let us try to give it another try. Now I'm telling you this and that, hoping also that there is no guarantee actually second time it will work. But at least reduce that fight. At least make it short fight if you cannot avoid it. Because the reality, you cannot trust any of your senses. Not your ears, not your eyes, or not even your skin. And you can find a lot of research about this. But for you, stop before you get so much investing in conflicts. Actually, maybe what the other party is telling you is the correct, or it's more correct version than you. So try to work out on that part. Thank you all.
Thank you, Khaled, for the speech. I guess we all got the message. We sometimes have to stop and